live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Great to have you with us for 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. It is a Monday edition, March 11th. A lot to get to tonight. We'll go in depth on the very latest for Salt Lake City's Winter Olympic bid. It's 2024, but we're thinking 2034. As we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us during the show. Use the hashtag 2 News Live if you would like to join in on all the fun. Easier way to do it. Find us on the socials, Facebook, X, Instagram. Send a DM to weigh in or just comment on the live feed. Let's get to a story that we've covered a lot here at KUTV2 News. Time for an exclusive tonight. For the first time, we're hearing from Navy Lieutenant Ridge Alkonis. After he served more than 500 days in a Japanese prison, he gained worldwide attention as his family and supporters rallied to get him out. Amanda Gilbert spoke to Lieutenant Alkonis today, as we mentioned, for the very first time. So, Amanda, what was he saying about his time incarcerated while overseas?
Brian, he talked about just feeling very lonely and isolated. So a little bit of recap. It was back in May of 2021 when Alkonis lost consciousness behind the wheel while driving. That led to a car crash that killed 2 people in Japan. Now, a judge in Japan ruled that he would serve 3 years in prison for negligence, but his family felt this was not justifiable. So 2 News kind of talked with Ridge's wife, Brittany, several times while he was in prison. But now for the first time, we are hearing from him himself after he spent 537 days behind bars. Take a listen.
So communication is limited. I was able to send 12 letters a day or a month to various friends and family if they were on the approved list. I got 5 30-minute supervised visits with my family. That I read 192 books in the 537 days that I was in prison. Spent a lot of time in a prison cell. I did get to work in a tailor shop where I made prison clothes, and now I have a skill that's come out of that.
And Brian, Alkonis also talked to me about how he wasn't really aware of all the news coverage and the social media attention because he didn't have access to that, but he did receive letters from people all over the world, and those are things that he read.
Amanda, I'm just curious because we've heard from the family and they felt like this was, an egregious 3 years for something that was unintentional. Did you talk to Ridge about the crash and if he felt that time served behind bars was justifiable? Because we've heard his wife's perspective, but did you get to talk to him about that?
I did ask about the crash itself in those moments. He would not go into details about that to me, Brian, but he did make sure to mention that the families who lost 2 people are still sad and still grieving, and it's important to remember that. And it's a terrible tragedy in itself that people died. And coming up at 6, though, Brian, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what is next for this family specifically, what's going to happen to them. Back to you, Brian.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. That again coming up tonight on 2 News at 6 o'clock. So look for that report, KUTV2 News. Some justice today for the family of murdered U of U football player Aaron Lowe. The man accused of killing him will take a guilty plea, so part of a plea deal for a murder charge. Christian Sita spoke to the family, also to the Salt Lake County District Attorney. Let's start with the family, Christian, because they've been outspoken about this. We've spoken to the family a number of times, but what did they share with you today after kind of getting the news and working through the process of what came down today publicly?
That's right, Brian. I talked to the family this morning and they told us that, they're relieved to get some closure. It's not what they expected, but they say it's better than, working through this lengthy process. And, we talked to the brother and here's what he had to say.
There are mixed emotions. We are certainly glad that this brings, some type of closure. We do believe that justice has been served with the acceptance of the plea agreement, but also we understand that there's no amount of time or any of those that, will help us to get over the loss of Aaron. But we are glad that justice has been served. And then I think the acceptance of a plea is some type of acknowledgement of wrongdoing, which helps us a little. the very fact that this young man was out and able to do what he did to my brother is a comment on the criminal justice system as a whole. I feel as though with his past criminal background, all of the things that happened before that, likely he should have been in jail or received some type of intervention before that. That, to me, that would have been the logical thing. This young man has a storied criminal past in which he not only robbery and all of that, but attempted murder with guns, all of those things. And so if the criminal justice system was in fact working, he should have been in jail in that time. And perhaps we would be celebrating my brother's graduation or other milestones at this time.
Yeah, and you heard it there. Lowe's brother did say that Buk Buk taking, this plea deal is some sort of acknowledgement. And, he also told me that he has, forgiven him now, but he does want to hear him in the sentencing, being regretful of what he has done. Now, I also talked to the district attorney, and he said this case isn't going to trial again because it's a lengthy process and the family just wants closure at the moment.
I know you mentioned Salt Lake County District Attorney. You also mentioned that you spoke with him about working through this plea deal and also their communication between the DA and the family. Did he describe what that communication was like with the family throughout this process?
Yeah, he did. He told me that they had very clear communication, throughout the day, throughout the weeks. If there was anything new with the case, he'd make sure to keep in contact with them, reach out, discuss everything thoroughly so the family understood what was going on. I did ask them about the death penalty as well, and he said that's off the table. That is something the family decided not to do. They don't believe in the death penalty. So, from the start of the case, they, said that was not an option. And again, they're just relieved to, get some sort of closure, and they're just waiting on that sentencing, which will be taking place on April 29th.
Christian Cito with the very latest on a case that has had nationwide attention, really. So let's walk you through the timeline of this case, given the profile and the nature of Aaron Lowe. This happened back on September 26, 2021. Police documents say that a fight broke out at a house party, which led to a shooting. October 3rd, 2021, police shared that Buk was arrested for Lowe's killings. Police also shared during a press conference that the shooting was not targeted, and 2.5 years later now today, Buk agrees to a plea deal March 11th. Again, that is 2.5 years later, so the system taking its time here with this case, but a lot of things have happened on the campus to keep Aaron Lowe's memory alive and well, especially around the stadium at Rice-Eccles Stadium and throughout the football facilities there. We've done a lot of coverage on this. If you'd like to read more of our past reports on this case, including how the suspect avoided prison time for a really violent history involving crimes, especially here locally, all of that is on our website, KUTV.com. All right, let's go in depth tonight on the Olympics 2034 conversation. It is indeed an ongoing conversation. Today, the International Olympic Committee shared some of their plans to visit the Beehive State in April, so right around the corner, when they will take a look at both the city and the mountain venues for a potential Winter Games.
We know in Salt Lake City, Utah, we have experienced partners with great expertise, and that Utah benefits from a wealth of well-maintained venues with great delivery experience that could facilitate Olympic planning and delivery. A very important part of the visit is also to get to know the team, to better understand the local context, and to really get a feel for what hosting the Games means to the local communities, and the legacies the Games could produce both before and after hosting the Games. So it's in this spirit of partnership and open dialogue that the Future Host Commission will visit. We want it to be a collaborative event that demonstrates the partnership between the IOC and the preferred hosts. Fabulous to see is that Salt Lake and Utah are so enthusiastic and so keen on hosting the Games again. And I think that that is, clearly a demonstration of what was a fabulously successful Games, a great experience, and they want to recreate that for a new generation and give a new generation of young people and athletes that opportunity. What has changed? I think we'll see when we arrive, when we get there on the visit. We know that the the socioeconomic or makeup of Salt Lake, Utah has evolved, like every big city has. And we're looking forward to seeing. We have many regular catch-ups with the Salt Lake team, with the mayor, with the governor as well. We talk a lot about sustainability. We talk a lot about making opportunities available for young people, for young athletes, and the sustainability aspects being key to Salt Lake leadership, both in the city and on the bid team as well. So I think something we very much look forward to seeing. And as Christoph said, Salt Lake, Utah had a wealth of venues existing and well maintained from Salt Lake City 2002. So we look forward to seeing those as well.
When we went for the first time, they had not received the games. Now we go in a context that did it once. Mm-hmm. And that's a major difference, Ed. They have done it before. They're not first timers. And it's a totally different ball game. And I really like this feeling, to go back to some of the greatest experts. They've been there, done that. They've been successful. They know the recipe. And yes, it's a long time ago. But guess what? The logic of organizing the event and delivering the event remains the same. So we go and speak probably from experts to experts, and this is a very good feeling. But what we know in Salt Lake City, and this is immensely important when we looked at all the projections, is that it is a region that is really climate reliable over a very long period of time. So it does make sense to further invest in those venues and renovate some of the venues, because by that time and for the decades afterwards, it will still be reliable. So it makes sense.
Stay with 2 News for the latest developments on Salt Lake City's and really Utah's bid to host the 2034 Winter Games. You can read a lot of our prior coverage that we have on our website, also our 2 News mobile app. I heard him there, Sean. He mentioned that Salt Lake City is very climate reliable. We got the snow, we got the 4 seasons. We got mild temperatures in Salt Lake City right now, but of course some snow-capped mountains in the distance.
I mean, even when we have a bad winter and we don't get that much snow, there's still going to be snow in the mountains. And it's
not like one of those Winter Olympics where you get a question, are they just going to make everything? I mean, that is not something that we will likely, I will imagine, in 10 years, really need to worry about here in Utah.
That's right. And it's just a short drive away to get to some 50s or some 60s and then go up to the ski resorts and get a little bit of snow as well.
If you haven't moved here, Sean's trying to sell you on making the move.
There you go. We have some snow out there on this Monday evening up into the mountains, a few snow showers. Really not a big deal for storm number 1 as it's moving through, but we're dry here in Salt Lake, actually dealing with a little bit of clearing within the clouds. 51 degrees, winds light out of the north-northeast at 9 miles per hour. We've been dealing with temperatures over the weekend. They were into the 60s. We're at 54 in Provo, 57 in Delta, dealing with temperatures into the Hanksville area at 63, Canyonlands at 60 degrees as well. Here it is for all of our mountains dealing with winter weather advisories for tomorrow. 6 to 12 inches of snow is looking likely, with some isolated areas seeing maybe 13 to 16 inches or so in the Cottonwoods area. Snow levels still pretty high today and tonight. We're dropping though from 6,500 feet down to 5,500 feet tomorrow evening, and then could see snow levels drop to the valley floors on Wednesday as that rain or that snow reaches the valley floors areas along the Wasatch Front. For right now, it's just some widely scattered light rain and snow showers that we are seeing from storm number 1. In fact, it continues to push out towards the east and fizzling out. But here's storm number 2, Northern California, all the way up into the Seattle and Portland area. As it slides down towards the south and east, we start to see the influence of it heading into the middle of the day tomorrow. Lunchtime could see some moderate to heavy rain along the Wasatch Front. Wasatch back starting to see some heavy snow, though, including the mountains. And you see this extends all the way up and down the I-15 corridor, with even the precipitation moving down towards the south and east. Potential is even there for a few late evening thunderstorms out towards the west. Notice we're not dealing with that steady snow heading into Tuesday night into Wednesday, but dealing with some widely scattered to scattered snow showers. So that rain moving over to snow. Could see a light dusting to maybe an inch here along the Wasatch Front. And then those snow showers become a little bit more isolated Wednesday evening. But heading into Thursday, we could see some redevelopment of some snow showers for southern and central Utah, especially up in the mountains. So we'll watch out for that. But generally here over the course of the next few days, the mountains doing fairly well, especially in our northern areas and the cottonwoods there as well. Tonight we drying out from storm number 1. We're down into the 30s and 20s across the area. 40 degrees for a low here in Salt Lake. Along the St. George area, we get ready for some windy weather through the week. Heading to the weekend, though, looking really nice, nearing 70 degrees on Sunday. The rain, some thunderstorms tomorrow, some snow showers heading into Wednesday. Then we get ready for some strong winds from Thursday and into Friday. And then we clear out and really see some beautiful weather Saturday and Sunday. So timing that out perfectly for any outdoor plans.
Hey, that +2 looks pretty nice. It almost seems like we're on the upward track here. And then by the time you know it here, we'll have this return, I imagine. We're probably not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch out for some of the crazy winds as we get to Thursday and Friday especially. But yeah, I like the trend here to some quieter weather. I feel like we'll deserve it after all that.
All right, thank you, Sean. Remember to download our 2 News Weather app to know about those changes, especially those first alert weather days too. If you got to be on the know about the track of these storms, maybe you're driving somewhere and you want to use that Follow Me feature in the 2 News Weather app. Is a great app to have at your fingertips. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. It is a Monday installment. We kept you busy. We went in depth on a lot of things. We'll do the same thing again tomorrow as we do Monday through Friday right here on Facebook, YouTube, KUTV.com, the 2 News mobile app. Have a great rest of your night. We will see you again. We'll do it all over again tomorrow, but slightly different. See you then.